a lot of people have this negative thought cycle where something bad happens, they get negative, they get down, and then it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy over and over again. So during your time of, speaking to people, whatever, maybe even coaching, what are some of the common themes that you see with people who have that negative cycle of they're really not controlling anything. They're allowing their environment or situation to control them. And then secondly, what are some of your, top, tricks or tips to like kind of break that cycle to start seeing kind of to gain back control of your life? Because a lot of people, like, especially if you're losing weight, for example, they feel out of control. You're up 100 pounds. You feel you have no control of food, barring an addiction, whatever it might be. You just feel like you have no control over your life, or you're a dead end job, or your relationship sucks. You have no control, and you just keep constantly thinking these horrible thoughts. How do you what are the signs for that? And how do you break that?
I think the first thing, and I stress this incredibly important point, I think, with everybody, be very, very, very careful how you talk to yourself. Because if you think about, and I'll use a basketball analogy because I like basketball, the same part of your brain that lights up when you shoot free throws, for example, is the same part of your brain that lights up when you think about shooting free throws. So if you're the kind of person that's like, you know what? Yeah, my job sucks. This sucks. This is terrible. I'm never going to get out of this. If you keep saying that enough, eventually you're going to get to the point where it's like, yeah, your job sucks and you're right. You're never going to get out of this, because you're hardwiring your brain with that constant negative overtone. And I remember I learned this truth probably early in my life. I was 15 years old. I had 3 knee surgeries in high school. And I remember when I went back playing after those knee surgeries, my brain was putting all kinds of negative thoughts into my mind. Things like, hey, you're probably a step slower since your surgeries, and college coaches aren't going to be interested in recruiting you. And I remember thinking, wait a minute, I'm still playing at an elite level, and coaches are still reaching out about the possibility of playing for their college or university. I realized I had to change the narrative. I had to change the dynamic in my mind. And I used to tell people, you just need to change the way you're thinking. And I've read more, I've educated myself more, and I think it's a little bit more complex than that. There are some people, I am not one of them, there are some people that just take that negativity, that take that, you stink, you're not any good, there's no way you're going to be, and they just use that and burn it as fuel. It's like, oh no, tell me that, tell me some more. They are so motivated by that I would tell those people, just stay with that. If people are telling you bad stuff and it motivates you to work harder and get better, then do that. I am kind of in the second phase where, yes, I'm going to take whatever that negative thought is and I'm going to turn it into something positive. I guess let me step back for a second. We all have negative thoughts. I don't care how positive you are. I don't care what a great person you are. From time to time, you're going to have negative thoughts come into your mind. Don't get all excited about it when it happens. We're human beings. That's just the way life is. So take those negative thoughts and change them into something positive and put it in your brain. Like, no, wait a minute, I'm still playing at an elite level. So, and coaches are still reaching out. So I've taken that negative stuff that my brain's put into my mind and I've changed it to something positive. So that's the second way to kind of look at it, depending on the type of person you are. And then the third way, some people can't get that close to it. Some people need some distance away from that. And so they are like, well, hey, maybe that person, it's sort of sort of looking at yourself from a third person perspective and changing that with a third person to, Terry Otto, I think Terry's playing at a pretty high level. And I know Terry's got some coaches that are sending him letters and things like that. So you remove yourself a little bit from that, because some people can't deal with, that negativity being right on top of them. For me, it works. And I kind of fall into that second category. I wouldn't do good with, well, yeah, Terry's still playing good and coaches are still reaching. No, I need to have it. I need to own it. Some people can't own it. They need to have a little distance from it. So it depends on the type of person you are as to what I would suggest would work for you to sort of change that negativity into something positive. But if you do it, if you stay consistent with it, you will eventually get there. It may not happen, next week or even next month, but eventually you'll get to the point where your brain will start to expect something positive as opposed to something negative.